Okay, let's go. Tell me the good things.
So, first of all, I've been listening to Chris Voss and
Yes.
I'm seeing all the parallels. I now know where I would get stuck though, and that would require some practice and also more coaching with you probably. How to articulate a no. Like it now it all kind of like after doing this mentorship and coaching with you and then listening to him, I'm like sold on the idea, right? And I understand how that whole system works. Even the emotional part, I felt like I could understand it so much better once I listened to, I think it was chapter 8 or 7. And I
Mm.
was like, huh, now I know what Kat is talking about. But then that's of course the first step, right? Where you have to have that mindset. You have to understand that mindset that, okay, this is how it works. This is how you negotiate. Um, but the second step would be how to articulate it in different situations. And I think that might, again, has to come with practice, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where we were at last time too. Like the lens in which you propose people's acceptance of a situation, it's just how you propose it to them. Like toddlers are the best analogy ever. Like, are you going to have cereal or a Pop Tart, or are you having Pop Tart or cereal, right? And they're like, like it's an actual choice that they're choosing. Like, listen, you're having cereal or a Pop Tart. I don't know what to tell you, and they think it's the biggest decision ever. Unfortunately, our prospects or people that we're negotiating with are not any different. I mean, it's your job to control or hold that vacuum to the point where you make them comfortable enough to be allowed to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good, I mean, a good thing, promising thing. Okay.
Well, to be fair, so I will say this to you. This is why people can feel manipulated or why they can have buyer's remorse. That's why trust is so important and why long-term people who do long-term business, that's why they do so well. Because
Yes.
not only do they create comfort, but they don't get burned in the end. Because not somebody has created comfort, they've allowed a decision, and then they've reinforced the fact that that decision was not a bad one.
Makes sense. Completely makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm glad you brought it up. So, based off of all of this, I want to run by you like a few things that are happening for the Pilates class and how it's actually related to the new contract I got.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Again, I made a couple of mistakes with the new contract, not the price wise, but and it's okay. The more I do it, the I have to make those mistakes to learn. I understand
I
that.
will guarantee to you before you even tell me this story, the mistakes that you're making are well beyond what they're mistakes other people just hope they get to make sometime in their career. And you're making them now.
Yeah. So, which is always good, right? On a smaller scale. So, I sent out. So one thing I did. So I've been experimenting with the time frame of sending like an email prior to the class. So my class is on Wednesday mornings. I used to send an email out like early Tuesday morning, right?
Okay.
Guess what? People have this full day of work. They're tired. They totally forgot all about what I sent them.
Okay.
I was sending it around, I don't know, 8:39 a.m. So this week I was just so busy Tuesday. It just the experiment just happened automatically. It wasn't like I didn't think of it. But then I was like, oh my gosh, you're onto something. So I sent the email out at 3 p.m. So this is like, when people are like winding down, it's end of Tuesday work day. And now they're in kind of like a Wednesday mode. Like, what do I have
Yep.
to do tomorrow? Right. So I
Yep.
sent it out. It was around 3:15 p.m. or something. I have to look at the timestamp on Outlook. And it was very simple, very brief. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. here's where the class is at. This is the time it's at. Um, Julie has shared the email list with me. So I have like 35 people on the email list. And I added like 3 wellness tips that you can execute in under 2 minutes. One of them was like after lunch, take a 2 minute break, 2 minute walk. It decreases your glycemic load and everything. So guess what? I had 18 people show up. There was literally no space left in the room.
Okay.
So then Julie's like, oh, so Julie also takes my class and she's looking at it and she's like, oh, can you all sign up on a sign-in sheet because I want this class to stay. Because remember, I'm still on a 6-week contract with them. This is week number two of the 6 week. Easter, the week of Easter, we are off, so I'm not teaching. So I'm just giving you like what the time frame is looking like because I do need to start working on. I don't know if I need to start working on it. It's automatically happening, but so then she circulates this list, and I'm like, okay, that's good. And then at the end, she's like telling in front of everybody, which was promising, that she's not like just saying it to me, that we're probably going to remove the other class, like the boot camp class on Mondays, because we're not seeing any numbers. And I would rather have Aesha teach this class, rather than that class to stay at, or the money to go out of our budget from there. And people were there and everybody was listening. So then at the end, when people left, she's like, hey, how do you feel about a boot camp class? And I'm like, I feel great. Like the instructor writes that workout down on the mirror. So I've seen it a few times. And I'm like, this is like a simple circuit workout. I mean, I can teach it and I'm certified and everything. But I could tell like from her question, I was like, maybe she's not sure. Like maybe because people think people who teach yoga and Pilates classes are probably not teaching a high intensity workout. Do you understand? But for me, I'm like, I have taught everything. I literally have. I started as a spinning instructor. So then when I came home that day, like Wednesday, after I was done with work, towards the evening, end of the day, I sent an email to Julie, and it had, I keep a folder of all my certifications, and I have like 15 certifications. So all those are uploaded in my folder, and I just send that Google folder like drive to her, right? And I was like, hey, Julie, just so you know, like, I'm certified in all of these things. And I've taught boot camp in the past. So let's talk about boot camp. So that's a good thing. Now, and then she got back to me that, hey, thank you so much for sharing. I just love that you love what you do and it shows. So that's the email I got back. Now, how do I continue this conversation with her where not only do I get an extended contract on my Pilates class, but hopefully also be able to gain that boot camp class?
Okay. Do you want to teach boot camp?
Yeah, why not? It's a circuit. I don't have to work out with them. No, seriously, the reason I actually stopped teaching like spinning and high intensity classes was when I had to do the whole thing with the classes. Then it starts getting into my training, and then I can't train enough for my own training. So that's why.
Okay. So here's what I will tell you. And she kind of got you again. So my questions would be, does the boot camp class, so I'm gonna tell you a couple things, I'm gonna go back. Okay. Does the boot camp class not have attendees because it's boot camp, or because it's the instructor, or because it's the time of day, or because of something else?
It's the time of the day. At least that's what she said. And she has said this in the past too. It's a lunch hour class.
Okay. So when she said to you, would you teach boot camp? And you answered her, She got you again.
Okay. Okay. No, no, sounds fair. Sounds fair.
So I actually think Voss has a different word for it. I think he calls it calibrated questions. We basically call it reversing your question. So when she came to you and said, can you teach this? Or what she said, will you teach this? Can you teach this? Whatever. My response would have probably been something like, what are you hoping for? Or what do you think is the reason this class isn't filling? I don't very often answer a question that a prospect is asking me until I've really drilled down. I call it the law of three or three plus. And I don't think you actually have any of my training manuals, but we talk about a milk stool. And a milk stool is the most stable when it has three legs.
Okay.
So we want you to ask at least three questions. So when you return a question on someone, you get one leg on your stool. So if you stand on one leg, you're kind of unstable. The majority of the people you know would be unstable if they only stood on one leg, right? They're pretty much standing there like a pirate. Like, all right, well, my argument in return to you would be kind of unstable if I only had one leg on my stool, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you think about it, your argument to her is pretty unstable with only one response. Now, if she would have said, well, I don't know, we've given it some consideration that it's the time of day. Okay, fair. But is that what you really think it is? You said consideration. Is that what you still believe? Okay, now you're on like the second leg of your stool, right? So now you're at least standing with two legs. You know, any person stands on two legs on a good day, right? So you're more stable, but I can walk by and push somebody over that's standing on two legs.
Hmm.
And if she says to you, yeah, I mean, between the instructor and the time of day, I just, we need a change. Okay, understanding. What are you hoping I can do for you? Now you've asked a third question. So this stool has a third leg. So it's a tripod. There's not much that's more stable than a tripod. We put our cameras on tripods, right?
Mm.
So now you're super stable. Now, if she would have said to you, well, if you could come in and at least take the class over, then I would understand if it's the instructor, the time of day, if I could just change one factor. Oh, well, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to change the factor so you could figure it out more. Sure, I can do that. I can get you my certification. Then you would know where her head was. But for right now, all you did was dump a bunch of information on her. You kind of vomited on her shoes and went, sure, I'll do anything. Please just let me have more. And you still don't know what she's trying. To be fair, in what you've told me, if I was choosing from the outside, I would be thinking, well, hell, why don't I just have another Pilates class with you at noon?
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. The thing is
You
that,
left all the decision making in her lap and you lost the vacuum.
yes, yes, I see that. I see that.
This
I
power of three will return in a ton of places. I always want you to be the most stable.
So here's what's happening though. I'm not getting a lot of FaceTime with her. So what happens is I'm wrapping up the class. At that time, I'm also taking care of the participants because I don't want the participants to not feel like I'm not giving them time. They're not coming back.
Yeah,
They're not
right.
coming back. I'm losing you in the Pilates class, right?
Sure.
So all of this is happening in the last 5 minutes when people are actually also exiting and checking out.
Yeah.
Uh, I do want to schedule another call with her.
Yeah.
But what I realized in all of that, I understand what you're saying. When she said it seemed like she wasn't sure if I teach that kind of format or not.
Well, but in the end, is that really what she's trying to solve? Is that even a class she wants to keep if nobody cares about coming to boot camp?
Yeah, of course, that probably could be the next step. But what I realized when she said, "Oh," yeah, because she did this to me once before, and I didn't take too much interest, and then she actually stopped talking about the boot camp class. This happened once before. Something
Oh,
very similar happened, I want to say 5 6 weeks ago. Like I was 2 weeks into my first session, I remember, because that instructor wasn't coming to teach at all. Her mom is sick or something. That's what she told me. So I
oh,
was
okay.
saying, so then the conversation completely closed. So there is a little bit of a history here too. So
Okay.
Julie comes in and she said the same thing, the same thing that she said to me this Wednesday. She said it to me that day, and I was like, hey, okay, let me know how I can help. Like I was very like cool, and I was like, okay, huh, yeah. I mean, I understand. I can substitute for the instructor while she's
Yeah.
away, whatnot. Let me know what you would like to do, right? And
Yeah.
then that
Sure.
conversation got shut off because I think I didn't show enough interest. At
Okay.
least in my head, that's what happened.
Sure.
So because I'm also trying to understand how Julie works, like we both are, like we have both figured out a few things, but I'm also trying to understand how she works. And I remember from last time, if I don't show any interest, this conversation is getting shut off, and I don't even know then if Pilates is secure or not, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She definitely likes to keep you guessing.
yeah.
So
So then what
so
happened was, the sentence she said, which made me send the information to her, was like, oh, you know what? It's a very simple class to teach. And she did that like 5 weeks ago, too. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what part of what I do you not understand that I can
most
teach?
likely all of it.
Yeah,
Most likely
that
all
I
of it.
can teach any format. So she started like in the last minute of our conversation, she started telling me how to teach the class. And of course, I tried to stay really cool with my facial, emotions and everything. But in my head, I'm thinking she really does not understand that I can teach this class. I did say to her, I said to her after she was done talking, then I said to her, hey, Julie, I've taught boot camp classes before. This is a simple circuit workout. I mean, I do this every day for myself too, like, and I've taught it in the past. Um, and so then to follow up, just to give her proof, because she is always like, her thing is, oh, this is corporate. We can have only certified instructors and la 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 la. So now I'm thinking, okay, now she thinks probably in her head, she's thinking she's not certified in something like that. Maybe she has taught it if she's saying it, but I don't know what is going on in her head. So my whole response to that was like, okay, I can help. But then when I said, oh, I can help, tell me more, she's like, oh, it's a very simple format. All you need to do is this and all you need to do is that. And I'm like, what? You really think I don't know how to teach? Like, because she was
Well, she
literally,
might. Yeah. She might think that. But you're getting her to, you're off on the details of the solution before she gives you permission to have the solution.
yeah,
Okay, so you need to back this train up and say, I understand if that's how you'd like it done, but first we need to talk about why you want it, why you want me here.
totally. And that this is why we are having this conversation, because I'm going to ask her for a phone call.
Yeah. So I would again go back to, you know, I understand you're having an issue with your current instructor. Let me just ask you a series of questions. Are you looking for me to continue to fill in? Are you looking for a long-term plan regarding this class? And if she says yes, I'm looking for a long-term plan. Oh, then you can say, okay, well, then let me ask you these questions. If she says no, then I would say, really, I kind of got the hunch based on the questions you were asking inside my Pilates class that there was some changes on the horizon. And then you're going to have her in a position where you can say, aside from the fact that I'm licensed to teach this class, do you want this class, this time, or your current instructor to change? And I don't think that there's anything wrong with, I realize you like the results of the volume of people I draw. Are you trying to duplicate that at this time slot? And obviously that's a loaded question. Yes. Yes, we want that in all of our classes, right? You're teeing her up. She can't say no. She might be able to say, well, we would settle for half that. Okay. So in your opinion, what's going to get you that result? And again, we're just trying to ask enough questions to get her to understand that either what she's saying to you doesn't make sense, or her responses give you enough ammunition to say, okay, so it sounds like we need to leave this as a boot camp class. You just want me to put my own finesse on this and see if we can revive a boot camp class. You want to give it 6 weeks? The answer to that is yes, I'm happy to do that. We can reinvigorate it. I have my style that people like. I'm happy to try that for 6 weeks. Yes, let's settle on a dollar amount. Or if she says, honestly, nobody's come to this class in X period of time. They show up when they know you're going to be there. So we're just really not sure. Okay. Then give your recommendation. Let's make it a Pilates class. Let's make it a spin class. Let's make it I don't know, whatever you think. But until you make her go through her thought process, she's just going to keep throwing stuff at you that you aren't prepared for, or that you don't want to answer.
Okay. Makes sense. Now, another thing that happened on Wednesday morning, again, I'm learning so much about her. So she had recommended this other company that they work with me, the ones who are doing like a one-time class at the end of March.
Okay.
And remember, they had thrown that budget of like $50 to $75. And then we count with what you suggested to me that, okay, if it's a long-term contract, I can work with you around it. And it was the perfect thing to do. Guess what? So I forget whatever her name was like, but whoever that person in their community development or whatever it is in that company, she went back and told about whatever negotiation I had with them to Julie.
Okay.
So Julie comes to me when everybody left. She comes to me. She's like, oh, I'm glad you're working with Apexon. And I'm like, yeah, thank you so much for mentioning, my name to them. I'm so grateful. She's like, and I'm glad you're getting money out of them. They have a lot of money. And I just smiled. I didn't say anything. I smiled. But in my head, after like I'm driving back and I'm thinking, if I had come, let's say I would have said, okay, whatever, $100 or something like that, something low figure, Julie would have negotiated the contract with me. Like here too, she would have been like, you have to teach at a lower price for me. But in a way, it just all happened that I stayed consistent with what my ask was with Julie, right? And with the other girl at Apexon. Like it's a one-time thing. If it's a one-time thing, it's the price tag is higher. I did not expect that they would like exchange notes about how much I'm charging. But they did. And now I get a feeling like Julie was probably trying to test like what she would do over there. What do
Is
you
this
think?
the first time that's ever happened to you?
No, not necessarily. Like it has happened in more like when I was working in a job where they would, check things. Yeah. Yeah, like pay. Let's just say if I would ask for a raise. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, it happens a lot. It's one of the primary reasons why you can't really discount until you have a long-term client, like a very long-term client. Mhm. And
But
I mean,
you think it's
she,
all congruent though? Like you know. Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, she, if anything, it helped you because you made her come up, and she didn't want to pay you. And so for you to simply bid that project the way that you did, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's something that a lot of people really struggle with, right? Like a brand new client, oh, it's just a one off. Sure, I need the work, I'll take it. And they don't realize when it's going to come back and bite them. It could come back and bite them whenever. I am in a super small group of speakers and business owners on Fridays. And that group talks about doing pro bono work a lot. And you're great for a charity or you're great for, a small group. And as soon as they ask that event organizer, hey, how much did you pay them? Oh, well, they did it for free. You're screwed for every other referral event from that one time where you were out doing a great job, having a good time, and you did a great job because you did that one event for free. And you got 5 referrals and they immediately say, well, how much did you charge, so and so? And they say, oh, well, they did it for free for us. So, you do better to say, I do this for $1,000. As long as you hold your date and I'm there, you know, I'll do it gratis. But this is an agreement between you and I. And if anybody asks, this was $1,000 value for you when you're doing it for like charity work, right? And because even something simple like giving your time to a charity can just totally degrade your value just like that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, you have to have a minimum dollar amount. And I think right now you've settled yours on 100 or 125. And like this agreement that you have with Julie, obviously you had a promotional type thing, and that's fine. Um, but that's got to be like a rarity. And even then, the conversation is, I'll do this, but if other people ask, you know, I charge you $100 an hour or $100 a class or whatever that is.
Hmm. You know what I really love about this whole thing? The way you explain it to me. How to be very upfront, which I have always been very upfront and direct, like, but in a
Yeah.
very professional manner, where and that's what I heard in Chris Voss's book this time around, which it was like, you're not burning your bridges. Like, even if you didn't end up
Right.
working with somebody. And that has always been my goal, but I didn't always, execute it that way. Right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that this is the part that people don't understand. There's a lot of business out there that, people can be catchy or kitschy, and they can have their cute little sayings. And I have a couple of colleagues that are very, they're wordsmiths and they've got all of that. But at the end of the day, when we're all exhausted and we're all plates are overflowing and there's business to be done and decisions to be made, That's the stuff that's the massive turnoff. And then when you add on top of it that we are women trying to do business, it doesn't work. Hard stop. It doesn't work. So, in my experience, you have to be able to enter the negotiation table or the sales table or whatever, and you just have to be aware of where your no is. You have to be able to speak intelligently to why it works and why it doesn't. And you have to be doing enough volume that when it doesn't work, you're okay with it.
Yeah.
And as long as you can handle those basic principles, it doesn't matter that, you're not a cute blonde or that you don't drive a fancy car or any of that other bullshit that people are like, oh, it'll be okay. I don't have that. And I don't think you do either, but if you can stick to those like super brass tacks, you're not only will you be fine, but you will just blow it out of the water.
Got it. So another good thing that happened last Friday was I had applied to a health and fitness. It's actually called Health and Fitness Association. It's a big,
Okay.
big thing
Okay.
of the top tier health and fitness experts belong to that.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
having a summit here in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Somebody in my LinkedIn contacts who's on the board of that association had posted a call for speakers.
Okay.
This is 3 weeks ago. So I went on their website, looked at it, and like the summit's website, not just the association's website, but also the summit's website. They had their
Oh,
own
cool.
summit page, right? So I'm looking at it, and it said very clearly that they do not pay for the
Okay.
speakers.
Okay.
And I can see why, and we're going to talk about it, because the audience isn't necessarily the consumers of the fitness classes or the or my services as an exercise physiologist. They
Okay.
are other fitness professionals or healthcare professionals, even some physicians and stuff. So that's the audience.
Okay.
So I thought about it, that, okay, I do want to speak because I have a lot of knowledge and it builds my credibility as a thought leader, right?
Okay.
So the
Yep.
primary goal to go there is to build my credibility as a thought leader. And then the secondary goal is that the topic that I'm going to speak on is also the topic that I'm trying to grow my company into.
Okay.
So I'm talking about AI and healthcare.
Ooh. Okay.
And I've already started creating an app. I think I told you I'm a software engineer in my past life, like prior to dipping into exercise physiology and fitness. That's what I did. Okay.
Okay.
So one of the things that has been kind of like coming back to me, the more anytime I go and work in an organization, like as an employee, everybody comes to me with all the IT things, right? I'm
Mhm.
their go-to IT person,
Yeah.
especially PLC, where I was working last year. They didn't have a dedicated IT team or something. They didn't.
Okay.
So anytime somebody was like, they couldn't even like start their screen or something, they would be calling me.
Okay.
And soon I became like their go-to person for their New York team. So they were like calling me on the phone to troubleshoot it.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh my gosh, all this free work.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So then that was also like, I was like, how can I, the Venn diagram we talk about, like you love doing this and then you also have specialty in doing this. And I've always wanted to like merge that technology and exercise together. I just, I just didn't have an answer till I started realizing how much AI is going to take over the workload.
Okay.
And once I was in front of the patients, then I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like the patients are like, we come to see you once a year and we don't have that information front and center in front of us. we wish there was a way to that we could follow up more often or something like that.
Okay.
And I was asking them, hey, do you ever use like an app like to do the workouts or to implement the suggestions that people at PLC give you? Like, have you ever done that? And a few people were like, yeah, that's how we increased our muscle mass. Like, we subscribe to this app. It has this structured, weightlifting program. And those were the patients who were using the apps were the most successful, who were coming back
Yeah.
and actually doing something. The other ones, they're like, we really don't have time for that. And you know how people are, like, they have to make
Right.
it. So then I'm like, this is it. It might take me like 2 years. It might take me 3 years. I'm going to create an app. It's going to have all the health biomarkers that we are going to pull that in from their physicians. I'm still working on how to do it. It's getting easier though, since OpenAI can grab everything for me. I don't have
Yeah.
to necessarily go to people and ask for the information anymore because it's going to be available. So that being said, when I saw the summit, I'm like, how do I get to understand the problems of the people who are working in the field, like who are the providers? I know the problems of the patients now, but how do I understand the problems of the providers? So I was like, let's throw out a talk on this. And guess what? Most of the people in that organization are like, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not saying this, the next sentence I say is not because I'm categorizing somebody because of their age. It's not ageism. It's because I know that younger people in the exercise industry are not doing what I want to do. And they don't belong to that organization. Most of the people, I looked at their speakers profile and their members profile, they're 60 plus, right?
Mm.
So they
Okay.
didn't have this. They didn't have this topic. I got accepted.
Oh
Not
my
only
gosh.
for
With
this,
this topic, just AI in healthcare?
yes, there's a fancy title and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that's
The,
super broad. Okay.
the AI cure. And it
Okay.
is very niche for healthcare providers in the longevity and exercise space. Yeah.
Wow.
So it
So
got
when are you doing this?
it's May 20th.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Wow.
coming up. It's coming up. Yeah. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm trying to learn everything. And I start creating like my what is it? The slide deck and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Um, but then the thing, how do I know that nobody else proposed AI is because they said, oh, by the way, we also have an opening for leading a roundtable at the end of the same day when I present, because and it's going to be AI in healthcare. That roundtable is broad. It's AI in healthcare.
Yeah.
And she was like, the woman I was in contact with, she's the VC of that organization, and she's like, hey, it's super easy to do it. And you just have to throw like a question out and people will, start commenting. And I said, I've done roundtables before. I
Yeah.
said, oh, that's not a problem. Thank you for the info, but I've, led the roundtables before. So that's a big
Yeah.
win. It's a big win.
Yeah.
But and since it's a drivable distance, it's like 3 hours drive. I was like, I can do it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, now that you understand why I'm doing it, of course, I'm getting a lot out of it. Not just the credibility, but also the product that I want to create. I'm getting more information about it, right?
Sure.
So that being said, how do since I'm not getting monetary value out of it, what should be my call to action at the end of the talk? That's where I'm like now thinking of, because I always like to reverse engineer my talks. Like, okay, what's the end goal?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a couple clients right now that are watching in real time the value of their email list. And you and I have talked a ton about the value of your email list. So I think you have a couple of opportunities. One would be How are you capturing all of those new people into your email list? I personally, when I speak on stages like that, I just am a talk-a-dot person. I also would ask this woman that you're talking to how you get the whole list, not just your session attendees, but because you're not being compensated and you've agreed to do the second thing, can they get you a copy of the attendees?
She's
The
very,
other,
she's very strict. I'm just gonna let you know.
well, I mean, it doesn't hurt you to ask though,
Yeah, no,
you
I know.
know.
I get it.
The other thing that I think would be valuable to you because you are really kind of positioning yourself as the expert, and clearly you are going to be the only one speaking there, is how are you positioning yourself to coach independently right now? Like, are you doing any one-on-one virtual coaching or anything like that right now?
Not right now. I've done that in the past, though. I was doing that prior to my job with PLC. Yeah, it was a big
Okay,
part of my thing. But it was, see, these are not the people looking for health and
I
wellness.
understand.
They're
Yeah.
kind of like they're in the same kind of same boots as me. Like, they're working in the same space.
So what intrigued me about what you said was these are older professionals that need to know what you know about AI.
Yes, yes, and how it's going to be implemented. Yeah, in our.
So when I say coaching, I'm not necessarily talking about fitness or wellness coaching. I'm talking about how can you help them incorporate things like this inside their own businesses and their own um, organizations.
Exactly. So the whole point of having this app is also to have first step is the app. And then the second step is to have a whole software system that I can go and sell to the organizations.
Right. So, because you don't have that, so like when we launched our app and our calculation software, we did all of our calculations longhand because obviously once I had the calculations, I could run them longhand. And the automation of it was what was taking so long. So you
Okay.
would schedule time with me. We would take in all of your data. We would run the calculations longhand. You would pay to meet with me. And the return on investment of that half an hour or 45 minutes, depending on how prepared you were, uh, was massive. The return was just ridiculous because you would spend at that time somewhere between $250 and $450 to meet with me. And then your return, depending on the size of your company, could literally be millions of dollars in savings. So it was nothing for you to sit with me or for the owner and the controller to sit with me and give me the data that I needed. It was a 24 to 48-hour turnaround. And then we started to implement the savings for you, right? Now it's automated. You still get some interaction with our team depending on how big of a company you are, but when we do it, it's a lead generation. So like as soon as a big corporation comes in and starts to put their numbers in for us, we immediately go to them and say, okay, with this cost savings, we will train your team, because now we can see, hey, you have these other issues. This is where it's pointing to leadership issues. This is where it's pointing to retention issues. Like we can see all kinds of things. That's why that tool was built. Okay. So for you, before the automation is there, I don't see why your model couldn't look something similar to mine, where this time is you helping them understand, inside their organization, where there's glitches, where there's that type of thing, because that is a higher dollar coaching. It's not like, hey, you're meeting with me for 75 or $100. We're going to talk for 45 minutes. You're going to tell me all the excuses why you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And then we're going to meet next week. It's like a $300 to $400 intense deep dive. People want to be there. And then you meet with them again in, 3 weeks. Right. And
Yeah.
then what I did is these clients were my beta testers. So when the automation came out, they already somewhat understood my style and what we were trying to do. They maybe even had some of my calculations going. So they beta tested the software for free or for a discount. And they were my advocates. They are my reviews. They are, some of those best people. And then they just referred the hell out of me because they were like, listen, we did it longhand, but you guys want this because now you don't even have to sit with her. So you can tell me if I'm off my rocker, but I would probably set up like, hey, I sit with companies that are trying to make this better for them. Um, I only take a limited number of clients where I work with them. You'd have to kind of look through your talk and see what benefits you would offer them or what solutions you would solve. Um, if you're looking to have this inside your agency or practice, you can apply to be, and this is key, you can apply to be one of my client or one of my coaching clients. I take 3 to 4 new ones as available. You can apply here. Here's the discount code for being an attendee at this session. And one of my team will reach out if we have time or if I have coaching capacity for you. Okay, so you're creating this opportunity for people to understand, like, if she has time, if she has an opening and I'm chosen, she would step in and help us fix this problem inside our practice, which, okay, fine, whatever. And then your $450 coaching package, a session, you would agree to discount to $400 a session because they were an attendee.
Yes. Yeah. I totally understand. Yeah, the discount part, I totally understand. But you gave me a lot of clarity around like that real call to action, which is going to be valuable for me because, that's the next step or gathering in more information from the companies. And I know we are coming on time. I quickly just wanted to wrap this up. One of the other reasons why I'm doing this is what is happening is like I applied for another one. It's
Okay.
a business association. Um,
Okay.
and that's a virtual event they're having, like a conference they're having. And I don't think it doesn't hurt.
No.
I don't have to travel. Like I
Yeah.
still get in front of people. I get email addresses, at least for my session, hopefully for the rest of it too. Now I'll start
Yeah.
asking. Um, one of the things that happened was like they didn't ask if I have presented this before, but with FBA when I applied, they're like, "Oh, have you presented this topic anywhere else?" So that also gives me a leg up once I start. Like even if I have to present a couple of times for free, it's okay because then I can add it in my
Yes.
future, bigger stages, bigger associations, presentations that I have already presented this.
What if you also offer to potentially host some of these people on your podcast?
Oh, that's the goal. That's the whole goal, too.
Right,
So all the
right. But what
people
if
who I meet up with, I'm gonna ask them to be my guest. Are you suggesting something else?
I'm suggesting that if people are there for a similar reason that you are and aren't brave enough to get on stage,
Yeah.
you would use it as, some of these clients even partner with me on my podcast. Right. So like for the lame white dude sitting in the audience who's not brave enough to get up there and talk, but knows he needs your help and is also thinking, hey, I'm trying to speak on podcasts before I learn to speak on stage. That might be the reason why he works with you over somebody else.
Okay. Got it. That's a good one. Yep. Uh-huh. Be a guest on my podcast. Yeah. Okay.
And again, we're just trying to lead gen into this. What you said to me was, I want to be paid properly for my time. And this type of coaching is how you get paid to do one on one or one on group coaching that's higher dollar.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's a little I'm still in that phase of like all the research and where eventually it's gonna head. But hey, I mean, I if I put all my when I say all my energy, like, most of my energy into creating this product in 2 years, and I'm selling it to organizations, not only the end user, they're going to pay a subscription too, but
Right.
also the organization, right? Um, then it's a good model. I feel like it's a good model, and everybody. I mean, AI is going to infiltrate in all the industries, like no, we like it or not.
We're in the process of building a bot now also. And, like I think that people who spread their businesses out like that are making money when they sleep and are not required for that one-to-one or one-to-many model are the ones that will be the most successful. So, I mean, I give you a ton of credit. And who knows if you sell it? Like, we actually sectioned my software off as a separate company so that it can be acquired. And because people just don't, we have trademarking and copywriting on my software, and it was purposefully built so that it could be acquired at some point once my trademarking gets closer to its end. So I think it's super smart. But I will tell you, there was a ton of value for me when I took people on as clients to use them as beta testers, because they saw things in my product or they brought experiences in that I just didn't see. I was too ingrained in my own software. So this layer right here was super important to me, and I was getting paid to work with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's a great idea because I'm
So,
the intention, but you kind of like really clarified it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and once you get this model in place, you'll be able to offer it outside. And you are well known enough in your industry that people, once they realize like, hey, I can get coaching from her, not workout coaching, but actual business, like she will advise me, that's a big deal.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And then oh, I think I told you I became a member at the co-working space in New York. It's Fabric. And they
You
are
did it?
like they oh yeah, I did last week because they sent me a really nice discounted deal. So that's how you work. Like I mean, I want to be in the places where they want me, right? Not in the places
Correct.
where there's a lot of friction already, like even before we started. So they're all like, when will you start your first workshop or podcast panel? When are you going to do it? So the next week I'm going to spend all like with them to figure it out. My goal is to start something in June because I'm busy in May. April I'm also I'm not speaking, but next time I will speak at that conference. I'm an obesity medicine associate, and I've been
Okay.
for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Uh, they know me well, but I was going to grab some people to be a guest on my podcast from the conference. I'm going to a conference mid-April too. And but that's a huge conference and I'm going to get a lot of visibility there. But my goal again is to get more practitioners to tell me what their problems are so that I can, once that product is in that developmental phase, we know what we are kind of trying to produce.
So, do you know how many of these clients you could take on right now?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I feel like I'm over the head. Maybe probably because I have to do so much thinking right now too.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot
So,
of commuting going on. Like I'm going to New York a couple of days. Like and I do work. Like when I'm on the train, I work. It's still like a lot of, it's still a lot. Like that's a
okay.
good
So,
question because I've been asking myself probably one a week. I don't know, but it's not supposed to be a weekly thing though, right?
I would set them up to be once every 3 weeks. So, it's a little bit more than once a month.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's what I would do. I would challenge you to figure out a way to take on at least two a month. So
Oh
it will
yeah,
be
that
two
is
every
doable.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
that's doable.
So figure out how you set up, like I use calendar blocks when I'm trying to take on new clients. I'm like tapping myself out here for a little while, but I'm like, I would do, if you could do two. So you're saying three a month is what you would have. So three, and then they would three every 3 weeks is what you think you could
Yeah.
do.
Yep.
Okay. So figure out how you put that somewhere. And then once you go into these, you would have a wait list after three.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. And then work that into your slides or your Talkadot or whatever you're using. And then you can start talking about it, right? Like it can be a call to action on your podcasts. I don't know if you use commercials on your podcast, but you could be your own commercial on your podcast, whatever that looks like, and start talking about it so that you get comfortable saying, hey, we're down to just one opening on my advisory slots. Everybody else will go on a wait list. Don't wait. If you're interested in this, send me a message, whatever that looks like. um, and decide what you want to get paid for this.
Yes. Because that would help me also cover up the cost of the development. And I know we're really coming short on time right now.
You're okay. My next one's running a few minutes late.
We'll talk about it next time, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my
But
goal
get this.
first year I develop it, the end that the user interfaces, I develop it on. I'll do like the investing, right? What is it called? I'm totally forgetting. But it's my own investment. I'm not asking somebody. But I'm also
Yes.
involved in a lot of VC circles in New York City. And they don't have a product like this yet. So I've attended a few of their events and they're like, we don't have someone who works in healthcare and exercise and is willing to implement like an AI bot like that, what you're talking about. We want your product.
Right.
Get it to that beta positioning. And I was like, okay. So I'm hopeful that I don't have to invest the whole thing. I get some investors involved and
your investors will feel a lot more comfortable about it if you have a solid beta team in place where you can test it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, let me stop your recording here.